My name is Rei Inamoto. I'm the founding partner of I&CO. This is my creative perspective. This was a factory when we moved in. It was a lot of machines, a lot of dust. It definitely was not suited for an office space. When we were moving in here, I think we were about 6 people, so it was way too big. But we liked the fact that it was unusual. The inspiration for my company actually came from a restaurant. When we were thinking about the business model, I had come across a restaurant called El Bulli in Spain. What's unique about that restaurant is that they're open only for 6 months of the year. And in the remaining 6 months, they would close the kitchen. They would use the kitchen as a lab to experiment and come up with new techniques and new recipes. And they had this cyclical cycle of 6 months of restaurant business and 6 months of research and experimentation. Because if you are not running a restaurant, you're not getting revenue, right? So every year they would be publishing a book based on the experimentation of those 6 months and use that as an intellectual property to sell. So that was also a business, and that became the inspiration of how we set up I&CO, because we have this professional services business where we work with clients that we work with, but also we have this incubation business where a portion of our staff and a portion of our revenue from the client business is dedicated to incubating new ideas and incubating new products. We don't have a creative department in a traditional sense. I've always questioned the notion that creativity belongs to only a select few. I think creativity is about coming up with an obvious idea for an unexpected problem, an obvious solution for an unexpected problem, or coming up with an unexpected idea or an unexpected solution for an obvious problem. That to me is creativity. When somebody says that they're not a creative or they don't know how to be creative, I think that the only barrier is your mind telling yourself that you're not a creative. Everybody has the ability to be creative and to think creatively. As soon as you are able to get rid of that preconceived notion that you're not a creative or you can't be creative, there's no limit to your creativity. Back when we started, we brainstormed about different values and different beliefs that we wanted to have as a company, and end up with these phrases that we later created a neon sign out of. This is another maxim: risk nothing, change nothing. I think it's quite appropriate for me to mention that one as well, as I talked about starting a company, and I think there was a certain amount of risk involved. I was going from a salary that I was making to essentially making nothing overnight. When I was working at another company, although I got to a very, very senior position within that company, I still didn't feel like I had enough control of my own destiny and enough control of the destiny of the team that I was managing and that I was leading. It was a few years later that I had met Ram. After work, I think we were on our way home. We had a really bad day with a client. And jokingly, I think I said to him, if it was up to us, we could have controlled it better. And you know what, instead of working for another company, we might as well do it for ourselves. And he goes, well, I've been thinking about the same thing. Maybe we should have a conversation. So that, I think, was a trigger. It's not uncommon for people to drastic things when they have a midlife crisis. In my case, my drastic change that I made was starting a company. The joke is that the people buy motorcycles. The irony is that with the company that I started, and when we moved into this office, we ended up buying a motorcycle off of a motorcycle enthusiast, and he actually custom built this motorcycle, and now it's part of my company's office decor. The reason why we have the star as our logo, we like the idea of the exploration into the unknown. And spaceships were a good metaphor for that exploration. So we use spaceship names as meeting room names. Starting a company is not for everyone, but everyone should do it. When you start a company, you have to do everything. You don't get to hire everybody for every single task. You have to do tasks that you never knew existed. I thought it would be a lot more stressful because, everything stops with me. If I fail, the company fails. And that's a lot of burden and that's a lot of mental pressure to have. Don't get me wrong, it is stressful and there's a lot of pressure, but I think you feel good that you are pursuing what you want to pursue and you're not having to compromise your decision based on somebody else's decision. It's your decision and you have way more control of your own destiny. I think you have more opportunity to make a difference in the work that you do, the difference in the environment that you work within, difference for the people that you work with, and the difference for the clients that you work with and the organization that you work for. And ultimately, I think you get to make an impact much more directly. And I think that's another reason why, even though it's not for everyone, everyone should do it.